Now we're going to take apart your cable track. The best way to do it is this is where this mounts your gantry. So it goes like this, when the Z goes left to right. So I open it up like this way, grab a flathead screwdriver, put it inside these little keyways, and just pop it open. Try not to break them. They do break if you do it wrong. But if you get a little rhythm going, it goes by pretty quick. So now you lay your torch and all your wires inside there, and it makes it a little easier to make sure to get the right distances for the wires to the Z and the wires to the control box. So I'm just going to use these two wires for examples. This is the Z motor and the X motor. This bracket's still loose, like the beginning of the video shows. After you get all your wires, which will be the X8 or ZH, F, M, and ohmic wire. Once you get all those wires wired up, you just grab the entire set, just let them all hang loose because we're going to route them all through it. Grab your torch. It's completely open and exposed still. The best way I've seen to do this is run the torch through it. Pick whichever side you want, left or right. Grab the wires. This will get kind of tricky because everything wants to move on you. All you need to do is loop them in the cable track. Grab one of the little lock pieces. Not sure what the correct term for them is. So you grab it, put it in, click it down. So now all your wires can freely move in there, and then we can extend, shorten them. It's going to be really difficult if you forget a wire to loop it between in the cable track with the torch. So to make it more simple, slide it over. We can at least bolt this down. 2 bolts will be fine, just temporary. Right. So we're going to pretend like we have all the cables together. Um, just for video purposes, this cable's not going to be running because we need to tear it apart again and powder coat it. So route that over. Grab all your cables, which will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cables through this. Again, just freely let everything just kind of sit where it needs to or where it wants to. Kind of just drape everything over where the control box is, just like kind of toss it away from you. Make sure not to drop the torch though, you don't want to break that. I'll show you guys a trick on how to put these little clips back on together like we took them off. If you don't want to hurt your thumbs, because you have to do it a couple hundred times. So you're going to grab a couple of these. After your wires all ran through there, you want to get this little slot. You don't want anything really heat at a 90 or anything like that. So just grab these little clips, slide 2 on the teeth, just let it sit like that. Repeat that process for all of them. It's not clipped down all the way yet, it will be. So you want to copy this process all the way down. Grab your little seat clamps. Vice grips will do. You just want to really, or the seat clamps will do, but it'll just be slower. This will be easy because you tiny like that. So get it to clamp on it like that, and then clip it on. Now repeat that process over and over again. And complete that all the way through. You'll still be able to slide the wires through it. It's not going to be really tight. And then go ahead and tie in your Z mount, Z bracket. The adjustability is so if the cable track is leaning left or right. If this is leaning towards you or in front of you, you want this to be straight or parallel with the bottom tray. So there's no binding or anything on the plastic. Then we got your cable track for your wide motor side where the control box is. So this will go forward and back. This top piece bolts to the gantry. Your cable goes through this with all your wires to power your motors, the magnetic torch, ohmic, all that stuff. So we're going to do the same thing we did before. Flip it this way. Take them all off. Now that's all finished, we run the torch and all the wires to the control box. Now that you have your cable track ready to go, you grab your wire for your home switch. This will be HX. Zoom up on so this switch may or may not come assembled. So let's say you mount the switch onto that bracket. The black negative goes in the center where it has the 90-degree tab sticking off it for the plug. Cover positive, and that's the back line. Just like it shows, make sure they're nice and solid. They're good. Grab some cutters, cut the zip tie off. Let this cable hang out. Grab all your wires. Then again, I'm only running 2 wires for demonstration purposes. You'll be running about 7 or 3 wires, excuse me. You'll be running 7, 8, 3, 6, 7 total. And your plasma torch. I'm gonna zip tie all these down. You want these nice and tight. You want to make sure you don't leave too much slack for the gantry to be able to go forward and back on the table without any wires getting tight or pulling out of the plugs. We'll test that. When you grab your wires, there's going to be 7 of them. I'm only using 3 right now for demonstration purposes. Plus your plasma torch. I don't recommend zip tying them down yet. You want to make sure you cycle the gantry forward and back first before you zip tie anything down, because you don't want any wires to be ripped out of the plugs, because that will damage it. It's always easier to zip tie it later. Kind of organize your wires so they're all together, not twist around the torch. Let them hang down. Just mock up where all these wires are. Now let's grab a cable track. Alright, so you're going to lay your cable track on your cable trays. I like to do it this way. Some people will change the way they do this to make it easier for them. Unwind your plasma cable, plasma lead for just like a hose. We're going to do the same thing like we did on the X or on the gantry. Wrap all your wires around, make them nice tight, nice and fit in there, just like that. Grab one of your cable track pieces, put it on the bottom, because you can't get to it after you put the bolts in, and it helps keep it all together. Sometimes it's nice to do every 3 or 4 of them, just throw one on, just to keep everything kind of uniform in order. You can do it by hand without using the C-clamp. just wears you out a little bit if you don't. Something I like doing with all the cables when you have this all loosely out and all your wires are all tangled up and kind of a mess, we will address that in a second. So you want to grab all your cables, make sure cables, wires, or all your wires, kind of keep them all balled up. And again, you will have about 8 of them, so it will be a little tighter than this. This is just for demonstration. These wires will go next to your plasma torch, and see I'm struggling. Keep me all inside the cable track. Every now and then I always, like every 5 or 6, doesn't really matter. Where you have problems where the wires are popping out, just go ahead and slap one in. So you keep them all together, don't let anything fall out. I don't have anything bolted down yet just because you need to cycle the table, make sure the wires are tight, we don't have to adjust anything. It's a little easier with more than one person. Organize your wires. It's most likely going to be a tangled mess. Just the way I'm doing it. Twist them. Keep it organized. Now that's somewhat organized, we're going to throw some bolts into the gantry bracket right there. Then again, I'm not going to tighten these up. I'm still mocking it up. So I can put the Y motor up on the bracketry, and then you still slide it through. It's pretty simple to pull the wires through. You see which ones move. Like that one. It's good. We still have plenty of slack to move around if we need to pull, like when we mount the torch head. Alright, now I'm going to pull the X all the way back, make sure there's nothing in the way. Make sure you don't do that. You want to hurt the torch. Got lucky, didn't smash anything. Pull it all the way back. Action on that. Bolt it down to the back side of this. Grab some more bolts. So now we know we have plenty of slack on the cables, on the wires, and our cable track isn't binding up or pinching anything. So I'm going to bolt this down. You might hear the motors wind up or get harder to push. The motors do magnetize when you push it fast enough, so don't be alarmed. If you go slow enough, it won't do anything. Nice and smooth. So forward and back, all the way up to the switches. You have plenty of slack. Then you could bolt this down. So we don't need to bolt it to anything else. And there are supplied holes on the gantry, on the cable track tray. So those holes are to keep all these wires uniform and pretty looking. Once you zip tie them down, I'll show detailed shots. Now we're ready to plug in the wires to the back of the control box. Your plasma torch lead will go right into your plasma. So you grab your wires. They will all be labeled. So some of these wires are a little bit longer. All you have to do is loop them up. It's easy to do. And then you just zip tie them up, hanging. This is to expand them further if you need to. So you grab a wire that's A and M, that's the motor. And all this back of this control box is labeled. Grab this, this will only plug in one way, so just nicely, gently find it. Tighten it down. Grab your X wire, XM. That's the X motor. same thing. There's a little key slot in it, so you only go one way. Don't force it because you will break it. And we have to fix the little plugs. Then you continue that, and they're all labeled. So this is the YM, Y motor. There it goes. So you continue that with all your wires, and on the control box. And again, I don't have all the wires ran through yet. Once you do that, then you plug it all in, and then on to the next step. Alright, now we're going to put the cable clamps on the wires. I already opened that up, slid it on, and the bolts through there. Grab a Allen wrench. Thread that on. This is the same for the A and Y. They're identical for the uprights. If the cable clamp is giving you trouble, slide the Allen in there, straighten it out like that. So we're going to go back to your A motor. Get the zip tie on. Grab your flathead, and then slide your motor or Z all the way over, away from you. Just all the way that way. Grab your cable. So what you want to do is get where this is touching nearly. Lift it up. Unclip one of them. Grab your A motor, slide it through. Let that hang tight. So now this wire is running through there fine. Put it on the bottom. Flip that down. And we're going to show you how to just fasten this down. Now you're going to grab another cable tie, little washer, Allen, and a T-nut. Just go ahead and clamp that cable tie around anywhere you want. It slides left or right. Slide the bolt through. Grab your T-nut. Slide it on. A couple little turns. What we like to do is put it about there. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's just to keep the wire up so you don't get it damaged anyway when the table's moving. It's tight. Route your wire flat like that, and then throw a zip tie on over here. Up there. So you throw a cable. You throw a zip tie sitting right there, so this doesn't go left or right or up and down, and your track or your Z could go left or right without being affected by anything. So grab your wire after you have it all together. This is so after that cable tie is on, then this wire is nice and tidy up and out of the way. Grab your cable for your motor, and it's nice and flat through there. Throw a zip tie on over here. Put it on that. So throw your zip tie right there. This makes it so your wire doesn't lift up or down when your Z goes left to right. All these wires are still loose, so we're going to go ahead and get this all put together.